Located on Lake Schaefer in Monticello, Indiana, is a boardwalk amusement park called Indiana Beach. Well, mostly boardwalk. This park used to be owned by Apex Parks, however, they went bankrupt and the park almost closed for good. Somebody named Gene Staples bought the park back up, and it's now better than ever. He has opened back several other parks that were originally owned by Apex Parks, and has created a park chain called IB Parks. IB standing for the original park of his, Indiana Beach. Today, I'll be reviewing the park, telling you what I liked about the park, what I didn't like about the park, and whether or not you should visit this small amusement park. This is Storming Coasters, and storming into this video, we are going to start with the topic everybody is wondering about, which is the roller coasters. I went to the park in 2020, the year that COVID-19 started, or the pandemic at least, and there were only 5 roller coasters, and this year the park is installing their 7th roller coaster. Anyways, Steel Hog is my least favorite coaster in the park. It's pretty painful, but it has a good layout. I think the ride operators were in a bit of a rush because one of the ride operators pushed the over-the-shoulder restraint portion down way too far on my shoulders. And yes, there are 2 restraint systems, a lap bar and an over-the-shoulder restraint. It's ridiculous. Hoosier Hurricane was a Custom Coasters International wooden roller coaster, and it was just pretty boring. Not painful or anything, just extravagantly boring. If Indiana Beach were to RMC one of the roller coasters, this would be the best option. Tigger is a Jetstar model roller coaster, and it's pretty fun. It has a nice fun drop, not too intense because it's a family coaster, but it was very compact and had a lot of laterals. Lost Coaster Superstition Mountain, or shortened to Loco Samo, is a very compact indoor roller coaster that was fit inside of a small dark ride building of the park that was removed, so it has some very compact turns. They also added the only elevator lift to a wooden roller coaster in the world, and not to mention the theming. Oh my gosh, this is a very unique and fun coaster. Cornball Express is my favorite coaster at the park, as it's a fun wooden roller coaster with a lot of airtime laterals, and it only has buzz bars, which sit like a whole foot above your lap. It is crazy. And the coaster is pretty smooth too. The 2 new roller coasters since I last visited are Cyclone, which is a Pinfari Zyklon model, so not a super great addition. However, this year in 2023, the roller coaster called Chimera somewhere in Mexico is being relocated at Indiana Beach, and I've heard that it's a very intense short stop looping coaster. At Indiana Beach, there are no designated kids areas. However, there are multiple cute rides that you will find scattered throughout the park that your little ones will enjoy. I should mention that Indiana Beach does close their kids' rides at 8 p.m. every night. Indiana Beach has a few cool flat rides, including your classic bumper cars and Larson Superloop. They have a launch drop tower, which is basically a clone of Liberty Launch at Holiday World, but it's still very fun. Unlike Liberty Launch, this drop tower has no cap at the top, so if the tower has a slight overcalculation, you're going to fly off. However, it's very safe and very precisely calculated based on the weight of the train. The most notable flat ride is their Sky Coaster. I didn't get to ride it, however, I've ridden other Sky Coasters at other parks, and they are my favorite type of flat ride I've ever ridden. I'd love to ride the one at Indiana Beach, as it's right above a lake. Transportation at Indiana Beach is a very good plus in the park. Most parks either have a train or a sky ride or nothing, but Indiana Beach has both. The sky ride delivers you from the north side of the park to the south side of the park, or vice versa, and will give a great view of the park. Do not leave your little kids unsupervised on this ride, as the restraints do not lock, so you can easily pull up the lap bar. That's something I think Indiana Beach should fix, or at least I don't think it doesn't lock. I barely tested it, only raising it up an inch or 2, so it might lock farther up. The train ride at the park, I didn't get to do with it, however it looked fun. I'm not sure how reliable it is, as I witnessed a derailment of the train as it was departing from the station. It wasn't a major derailment, as only the wheels came off the track, so nobody got injured, but it looked fun. At the park, there is a water park with a beach with sand, and multiple slides. Not a lot, but a few slides, and they're pretty fun. Indiana Beach was working on some repainting whenever I was there, so I imagine the water park is pretty colorful now. The park has a certain charm that you don't get with many other parks. I think it's something with a lot of independent parks. Actually, this isn't an independent park. It's part of IB Parks. But classic parks like this deliver a very unique and pleasant charm. Holiday World also does, and it must just be Indiana Parks, I guess, as no other parks really do it for me. It's beautiful, very clean around the park, though some parts of the park don't smell very good. I'm specifically talking about Indiana Beach's restrooms. The staff at Indiana Beach were kind of hit or miss. On Cornball Express and Lost Coaster of Superstition Mountain, the staff were amazing, super kind, sarcastic, and just wanted to make sure that everybody had fun. You know what? Same with Hoosier Hurricane and Tigger. They were easy to get along with, and they let us marathon rides, assuming there wasn't anybody else in our row waiting to ride. Most of the staff of the flat rides were amazing as well. They were awesome staff. On the other side, the water slides and Steel Hog just had some very bland staff. It just seemed like they were there for the money. They didn't really have a smile on their face, and they were just kind of boring or rude. However, the good staff definitely made up for it. The next thing we're going to get into is ticket prices. I'd highly recommend, if you can, buying tickets online, as it will save you probably like $10 per person. The 2023 one-day tickets currently do not have information as of pricing as of the time being recorded. However, when I went, Indiana Beach had a price of about $35. The website does have a season pass prices now, which cost you about $70 each person. But you get admission all year. So assuming you come to the park at least 3 times in the year, the pass is definitely worth it. By the way, anybody under 36 inches gets a season pass to the park for free. So if you have little ones, now is the time to get the passes. That way you can take them to the park for free. At the park, merchandise is very limited, as there aren't any t-shirts about the roller coasters and the merchandise is just okay. Indiana Beach doesn't have super long lines except for maybe in the water park. The longest I waited for any non-water ride was about 10 minutes. And I went on Independence Day, so you'd expect it to be pretty busy. It's one of the least busy parks I've been to, other than maybe Holiday World, Beach Bend, or Kentucky Kingdom. I could ride Cornball Express over and over again, and it was amazing. Near the park are some cottages and rentable houses that you could stay at, which cost about $100 to stay at per night. I didn't get to do this, so I'm not sure how comfortable the rooms are. There are also hotels near the park, and they are pretty comfortable. Indiana Beach has a pretty easy to get around park layout. It's very clear on the map. There aren't any dead ends, and this isn't like a maze like at some parks. The park has 2 entrances, which are called the north and south entrances, so you have 2 fire exits, plus the big lake. Though I'm not sure if you can even get into the lake from the park, but the 2 entrances make getting into the park a lot quicker than the average park. And most people will go to the north side anyway, so steer toward the south side entrance when visiting. Cornball Express has 1 train, so operations on that seem to take a while. When I went, Hoosier Hurricane only had 1 train. Lost Coaster Superstition Mountain has since added a 2nd train, but it used to only have 1 train, and it has a very low capacity of 8 people per train. So boy, am I glad it has another train. Steel Hog and Tigger both have multiple trains. However, each train only seats 2 to 4 people. Overall, Indiana Beach's operations are quick as they can possibly be. However, on some roller coasters, specifically Cornball Express and Lost Coaster of Superstition Mountain, I feel like they could add more trains. Lost Coaster of Superstition Mountain has multiple braking areas that they could use as block zones. I get that the brake areas are to prevent the train from going too fast around those super sharp curves, but they could be used for blocking as well. Indiana Beach could improve in many ways. I'd say that they should add more blocks to Lost Coaster Superstition Mountain. They should RMC Hoosier Hurricane, repaint some of their attractions, and take better care of their bathrooms. Oh, also improve on merchandise. Other than that, I wouldn't change a thing. And who knows, maybe it has changed a lot since the last time I visited. And maybe they added more merchandise and are working on the smells of the bathrooms. One park nearby Indiana Beach is Holiday World, which is one of my favorite amusement parks. So, you've got two amazing parks in Indiana. You can make an amazing road trip out of these two parks. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this review of Indiana Beach. I hope you enjoyed it. But before I go, would I recommend going to Indiana Beach? If you have a road trip nearby, absolutely. But this isn't a park that you should go out of your way for. Tell me below if you've been to Indiana Beach and what you think about the park. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to Stormy Coasters and like this video. Have an amazing day, everybody.